enough. For a lot of us, you have to exceed to know when to find enough. And I, like I'm sure most people, fell victim to the COVID purchasing bug. Hence, any of the crap you see behind me. Now, I fancy myself a bit of a minimalist, so the idea of buying and having a bunch of shit is a bit of an issue. But I was smart enough to limit myself to a rack, a pedal board. And I look at my pedal board, which I just built this year, and I've already messed with it because of course I did. And it's enough, but is it too much? And I think it is, which is why in an attempt to quench the idea of enough, I bought this Line 6 HX1. So Line 6 is a company that dates back to 1996, but has a history stemming well back into the 80s. It starts with 3 people, Susan Wolf, Marcus Ryle, and based on the spelling, I'm going to say Michel Dodrick. Susan and Mark knew each other from just being musicians in the LA session scene. Still work together, apparently. Mark met Michel at Oberheim Synths. Michel is an engineer. And in 1985, the 3 of them started a company called Fast Forward Design, who went on to work with a myriad of companies making various things like drum machines, synths, processing, everything, digital genius stuff. So in 1996, Line 6 starts up out of Fast Forward Designs by these 3 people. The name comes from sort of as a passcode or a joke because the company only had 5 lines on their phone. So Line 6 was to get into their side project, which was, as they had believed, guitar was being left behind by the advancements of technology at the time. So what they did is they advanced the guitar. First product, 1996, the Axis 212, which had a myriad of different models for amplifiers as well as effects. It's sort of the genesis of everything Line 6 has done. 1998, they launch Amp Farm and the Pod. These change everything. Everything changes from this. And I'm being genuine saying this. Everything changes. From massive high production companies making records on Pro Tools to what's become everyone now who just has something to plug into to give them a guitar sound with the Pod. 1999, the next year, the Spider, taking the Axis 212 idea, simplifying it, making it dirt cheap, and making the concept of your first amp a completely different landscape from that point forward, even today. Same year, I'm calling them the 4 series pedals. DL4, MM4, AM4, DM4, etc. Obviously, the noteworthy one, the DL4. Again, changes everything. So much sound. All delays from that. It is a cornerstone benchmark pedal for all time. It's still made today. Sure, it's a Mark II, but the 25th anniversary version is out. And you'll still see the old one on people's boards all the time. Maybe not all the time, but iconic moment. Line 6, obviously, like a teenager's... No, I'm not going to say that joke. They rose quickly. Like in 2002, the Variac. So within 6 years, they have completely changed amps, completely changed pedals, notably delay, completely changed recording, and then they decide, we're going to make a guitar that can be any guitar. It didn't really take off. A lot of their first attempts don't really take off. But the refinement that they do over the years, because the Variac idea, it still exists, and they still make something like it. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Insert later. But the massive growth of Line 6 came off the backs of the profits of Fast Forward Designs and all of the work they were doing. All of the profits from that went into Line 6. Well, all of the profits plus some venture capitalists buying in. The company built to about 300 people. From 300 people. And then in 2014, who ended up being my good friend apparently, Yamaha buys Line 6. And the next year, the Line 6 Helix comes out. The Helix, again, as most noteworthy things done by Line 6, changes everything. But it does so slowly. This is nearly 10 years old. And in that 10 years, the hardware is the same, but the software is dramatically different. So much so that this 10-year-old thing is now the pinnacle of the digital modeling realm. Let's get on to the HX1. When they launched this last year, I thought it was a bit of a miss, because why would you buy an HX that didn't have amp modeling? Like, even throw in just a Marshall, a Vox, and a Fender as like a backup in case something went down on your amp. No, just effects. I sort of didn't understand what the appeal of that was. This board, 16 pedals. Do I really need 16 pedals? And that's where this came in. Because how much of this board can be taken out with this pedal? Because a lot of these single pedals are used singularly. I don't use them with anything else. Hell, most of the drives I only use one at a time. So how much is enough? So what's interesting about the HX1 is it's kind of an old idea. And let me take you on this ride here. When I was a teenager, I had my guitar, a unnecessarily large and powerful amplifier, and I had a Digitech RP50 with an expression control. And that was one effect at a time, 2 toggles to go through, a couple parameters, even a back and forward button, save a preset, one at a time. So we return and begin again. Because that's basically what this is. Amazing how something that just worked for you as a kid, 20 years later, done perfectly, can have the same appeal.